You need to ensure that the person that you're leasing from is actually the owner. So he or she needs to be the owner of the property. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Esther Dunkley. I'm a businesswoman. I live in Jamaica. On this channel, we talk business, we eat business, we do business. I want to talk to you a little bit about the leasing of property in Jamaica. Now, there are lots of you probably are interested in leasing properties for different reasons. For me, I'm leasing because I want to put in some castor beans. I've been in the business since 2014 and I've never ever planted the beans. So for now, I am going to dabble a little bit into the planting of castor beans. For my lease, I pay 1,837 Jamaican dollars. That's probably about 12 US dollars or so, right? And that is per acre. I have 3.91 acres now, and I pay 7,187 Jamaican dollars for the entire year for that 3.91 acres. That's around $50 or so, 40 something dollars US dollars, right? Just in case you're interested in that. Now, there are some things to consider before you get into this whole leasing thing. You can't just go about leasing people property like that when you're into business. Now, the number one thing that I'd like you to consider is you need to ensure that the person that you're leasing from is actually the owner. So he or she needs to be the owner of the property. Or it can be owners. It just depends, right? So they need to be the owner of the property. Why? When you're doing business, you can't just take word for it. You're investing in it. You're going to be putting in your time in it. You're going to probably borrow a loan to do it, or whatever it is. You're going to have workmen to pay, and all of this is just going to add up. It's going to add up. So you need to ensure. There are different ways that you can find out if the person is actually the owner. Now, in my case, it's kind of a private company, so I know that they're the owners of it. We have a sales agreement and all of that. That we'll get into a little bit later down, right? So you can do some background checks. You can go to the titles office to see if there's a title for the property. You can ask other persons in the community, and then the information that you have garnered, you can use that at the tax office to see if they're actually paying taxes on the property. And you can use the information you got from the tax office to give it to a lawyer, or the lawyer can direct you. So there are a lot of different ways to find out if the person is actually the owner of the property. So that's number one. Number two, you have to ensure that you get into a lease agreement. Get into a lease agreement. It might be something simple. It can be very simple, but get into a lease agreement, right? Getting into a lease agreement, it's you need to get one before there is trouble. You can go to a lawyer, you can go to a JP, and JP a poor people lawyer based, a poor people lawyer. That so you don't have to pay a JP. A lawyer maybe going to charge you like a $40,000 or so. Or if them split the fee, maybe charge you 40 and charge the owner 40, right? And that's if the owner wants to get in. So something like that, it just depends. Or you would have to pay the entire fee if you want to do it, because a lot of persons here who own property in Jamaica, they might tell us, say, listen, if you want to take it and pay me the lease, you take it. If not, me not in a no lawyer business thing, right? So it just depends on the person and you. Right? So in this lease agreement, you need to ensure that it's clear as to how long you'll be leasing the property for. Is it renewable in terms of the lease? How much you pay per month or per year for your lease? You need to ensure that all of this information is in it. Also, you need to find out, what are some of the things you can plant on the property. So for me, I cannot plant bananas on the property. There are other persons who have leased from this company and them plant them banana and whatever. I don't think they're very strict on it, but then I'm not going to plant any bananas. They say we're not supposed to. It's in the lease agreement, right? We're not supposed to sublease. So subletting is something that is totally out, and I'll share my story on how I got my property at the end of this video, so you can have an idea of what subletting is, right? Alright, so these are some of the things that you need to look out for you need to get into your sales agreement. The final thing that you can look out for when you're leasing property is ensure that if you want to plant banana, or if you want to plant yam or sweet potatoes, make sure say it will grow on the land. So enough people just dive into it. Whoa, what a land pretty, and you don't do no background checks. You don't know if it can be used for your sweet potatoes or whatever you're doing. For me, I'm doing a little test run. So I'm planting patches on random areas of the property. So I'm going to be planting some on the front part, the middle, just about anywhere on the property to ensure that castor beans can grow on this property. So for you, maybe carrot not do well with the land because the land not having enough nutrients, the soil not having the amount of nutrients that it needs to have in. You can do your research. And there are persons like the RADA office in Jamaica. They'll help you. They'll send field officers, or they'll talk to you over the phone and help you in terms of soil quality and all of that, right? So just don't take it and say pretty and you can just put just about anything on it. No. And you need to walk through your property. So walk through the property. If you can get it bushed, chop down the bush and the trees them and all of that, then it will be good because you'll see what you're working with. Because there are a lot of persons, they lease the property, and after they cut down dead logs and so forth, it's actually rock stone them lease. Rock stone. Can't plant nothing. So you need to walk through the property so that you know exactly what you're getting into. Just don't dive into it. As I said before, it's a business. Your time is going into it. Your money. You're going to be paying money to get this project off the ground. Alright? Now, I'm just going to share my story in terms of how I got this property. Well, properties, because it's two separate parts. So, one, there are persons hanging around, they're not using their properties, and you can get a chance to use it, but them a hold on it, be it that them rent it from the government or whoever. They have a tendency of holding on to properties. I don't know why. So them lease it, they're not paying the lease, and they don't want to hand it over. So when I went into this area now, they say, oh, you're not going to get it to these because there are empty lots here, but you're not going to get it because X, Y, and Z. So I got some names, and I just went straight to one of the gentlemen. I said, listen, I get to understand you're not using your property, and I really want it to lease. No, you can't get it for lease because this, and I have bad experiences with people and whatever. I said, okay, sir, bye. Him start walk me down, and him say, alright then, you see like how you're one woman, I'll just give you the property and whatever, just like that. So I got it. No, because we are not allowed to do like subleasing, I know that I couldn't pay him the lease. He didn't ask for that, by the way. Him just turn over everything to me. Him say, listen, take the property and all of that. What did I do? I went straight to the company, and this is something that I want you to do. Go straight to the owners, right? And I ask about the name that they have on the books and all of that. They say, yes, this gentleman is on the books. Him owe a little bit of lease. I said, alright, I'm willing to to pay up the lease. It wasn't a lot, so I just paid it off, and then I got the paperwork going, right? Now, just don't dive headway. I'm going to say it again. When you're leasing, because when it is time, people will come and root up your good something where you just plant. You just put $100,000 on the land, and people will come and just root up all of that, right? They say, yes, I could go ahead and pay for it, pay for the lease and pay my lease, because it would have been due like maybe a month or so, but I just paid over everything, right? Then no, when the day come now and we say, all right, we're going to mark out the boundaries now. You know, you're going to have people close to your borders and everything, right? So one of the gentlemen now, them say, oh, he's the owner, or him lease the bottom piece, and me would have fall in the middle, and one other gentleman over here. So the man say, is you going to plant up there, so miss? You can't plant, you know, because them did lease me that land a long time ago. I was like, what? Yes, and me have it in mind because I had cows on it, and me decided I'm going to do. I said, okay, I don't want to hear the story. I went directly to the company, and X, Y, and Z, I paid my lease, and he was like, oh really? Oh, sorry about that, and whatever, right? So really, he wasn't telling a lie. No, it wasn't a lie. Somebody did give him by word of mouth some time ago. You get what I'm saying? So what if now but it put in crap in there, and then him did have proof say he actually did lease it? So you have to be very careful when it's coming on to that. So we rest that, we settle that, me mark out my boundaries and everything. So let's just do a little recap. So one, you need to ensure when if you're getting into leasing to plant potato or whatever you want to plant, because it's a business, you need to be serious about it. So number one, you're going to ensure that they're the owners. Go to the titles office or the tax office to see if you can get some information as to who is paying the lease, and then you can use this information. You can take it to a JP, you can take it to a lawyer, right? And then now, so they ensure that they're the owners. Two, get into a sales agreement, something that you're going to sign on to say, John Mark, get into it with the owners, right? To say, John Mark gave me this property, or lease me this property, rent me this property, June 3, 2000 and whatever, right? And both of you sit down and sign to it, and you need to know a lot of things like when you're going to renew it, if it's renewable, etc., etc. All right. And the last thing is you need to ensure that whatever you're getting the property for, it's going to grow on it. So run a little test, do a little test patch. I know a lot of Jamaican farmers, they're not into this, but you can test. You can ask people, potato do good on this soil, go to RADA, get some information as to how you can go about planting your stuff on it. And you need to also search through the land to see if you're only getting rock stone. So if they're not willing to debush it, then you need to walk, search through, and see if that will be able, if you can work with the property like that. All right, thank you guys for joining. Feel free to check out my Amazon store. I'm going to put the link below, right, where you can buy your Jamaican black castor oil.